Hello, good evening, scribes. It's the 22nd of June, just before 11 p.m., 5 to 11, 2019. All allegedly. Thank you for joining. Late night gnosis with I and Andy. Open chirp. We'll take some questions from you. We'll give you an update. We'll have some reading from Brother Andy here. So I'd like to say hello firstly to Gooey, Albert, Lisa, myself and Andy. Thank you all, and we'll see how we go. Andy, want to say hello, good evening, etc.?
Good evening, one and all. Peace and love, blessed be.
Oh, Steve at the top, under Lisa. Sorry, I didn't see you there. You're still here, Steve. Stop for a coffee. We were going at 11. I didn't put the time in. We're here just before 5 to 11. Early. Make note, scribes. We are early by 5 minutes. Good evening. Welcome. JJ's been reading about Welch, and this is where the royal evil ones got the Christianity from. Thank you for that, JJ. Shivite's just dropped in. Shiva boom. Andy, I can hear you vibrating. I see you getting some notifications or something.
Yeah, it's off me, Babby just talking to me. She's stopping out tonight.
All right, we're all good. We're all good. Thank you. Jerry's just got the notification. Dropped in. Lucky number 7.
We don't all have the privilege of computers, brother. I'm here merely on a handset.
Yeah, that's all right. We know that. It works. Thank you for joining, Andy.
Thanks for having me, mate. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to spread my love and wealth and what I know. Whether it's any good to you or what, I couldn't tell you, but it's how I get by.
We love it. It's just what the doctor ordered, some might say. Indeed. Thank you. And yeah, if you want to let me know when you're ready, done your messages, and then we'll crack on.
Yeah, I'm good when you are, bro.
All right, then I'm just going to type in. Andy's just read something to me. I'm going to ask him to read it again. It's quite startling what he's just read. So he's just mentioned a certain parameter of law. One of the laws that I should be quite proficient in because it originates, from the Torah. Then Middle Eastern. It's not Western. He said Mosaic, Mosaic, I believe, if I'm getting that right, and it primarily will be referring to the Torah. And I remember from my research and diligence, it's the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible there. Old Testament will be going for, traditionally believed to have been written by, let me think of the word for Moses there. We have Abraham, Moses, and they have covenants, don't they, with God. These are some of the scribes in the book. So Andy will go through and read his chapter verse there. But when you hear that word, you don't often hear that. And, we like to point out to you Mosaic law, the Torah, and you've also got the Talmud there.
The early law, it's Mosaic, Mosaic law. So when Jesus refers to them, his answer to the Pharisees is intended to show that the provision made for the divorce in the Mosaic law was only a concession to the hardness of men's hearts. The truer and deeper view of marriage must be based on a morality which takes its stand upon the primeval nature of man and woman. And with his quotation, he couples one from the book, Ephesians 5:21. The same result is reached in the New Testament, but with a transcription for 2 parts of the argument. In Luke 3:38, the ancestry of Jesus is traced up to Adam. As a Gentile writing for the Gentiles, St. Luke took every opportunity of insisting upon the universal power of the gospel. Jesus is not, as in St. Matthew's Gospel, a descendant of Abraham only, but of the man of whom mankind trace their origin. But further, the same evangelist who relates the fact of the virgin birth and records that Christ was in his own proper person Son of God, claims by the closing words of the genealogy that the first man, and hence every human being, is Son of God, and Jesus is both human and divine. So the genealogy preserves the truth that all mankind partake of this twofold nature.
So some keywords in that. There's some keywords to pick out there, isn't there?
The truth taught by St. Luke is treated in its redemptive aspect by his master St. Paul. It's all in here. What I've got here, it's an ancient book, and what it actually is, it's the dictionary of the Bible, and it's by James Hastings. It's an ancient book. It's very thick. It's very heavy, and everything that's contained within the manuscript is within this book. And I wish I'd have found this book some years back when I first started the KJV and interpreting it with my perception, what I think that it's saying. And now that since I've been to Wales on that last seminar that I done,
Oh, is that the book? The
and I
from the
picked up this
foyer?
book,
Ah, I remember.
yes. So this is the very book that I'm reading from here now. You know, for the men and women and the benefit of us all, because not only have I found that my perception of the script is correct, but I can also now back it up with this dictionary, and it gives me goose pimples, mate. It's amazing, I tell you, the power within once you know and how to speaketh that biblical text, mate. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. It's nice to get that confirmation when you are reading something so not unfathomable, but it's quite foreign. I don't mind saying when I didn't get so immersed in the Bible because being told it's a true story and struggling to find the relevance to the trueness of it and the reality, practicality. Even as a young boy, Adam and Eve creating the whole world. I'm like, hang on a minute, Adam and Eve are half mum and dads, and we've got all these different languages, races, continents, creeds, genes. I wasn't thinking like this as a little boy, but later on in my teenage years, I'm like, how could they have started? This means we're all incestuous. Then it troubled me somewhat, and you think about stories that we've been told and how the Bible portrays it. Even as a child, you get like the dissonance and the fractured confusion, and you want to believe and you think you're quite scared of hell and the devil and demons. It's quite a harrowing onslaught, to be fair. And I even noticed, like, I'm like to my religious teacher, Andy and fam, you see in this picture here, Adam and Eve have got belly buttons. If they've got belly buttons, that means they can build it. And I got told off for asking too many questions in religious studies. I'm like, but you teach me stuff, and it doesn't. I'm not saying I was an expert as then. You just naturally can you imagine me being as talkative as a little boy with ADHD and crazy shit going off there in a single parent family, and I'd ask questions, and I wanted to find God in some ways. My mum opted to be a Jehovah's Witness, and I saw that kind of rebirth and baptism in the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, and it's very, very great now. Not great. It's very, very what's the word? Satisfying when, as adults, we've gone through the wilderness and the confusion and the tribulations, and the tree of knowledge and the tree of life for 40 years. Andy, you and I, I'll speak for you and I. We've been at the tree of life, mate, and now you've come to find something that can confirm your inner beliefs and core. You know it in your gut, but you don't have it written, and it's not written anywhere. It's there's some reasonable doubt there to some extent. So to have that confirmed, and it's like, yes, one of them moments where you just have a nice smile like the Cheshire Cat.
Well,
Yeah,
exactly. So coming, 20 years ago from my first ever meeting of the Bible by smoking it. And here I am now having written confirmation that my understanding of it and my perception is true and correct. It's quite phenomenal, mate, that I've come on this journey and I've come this far. It's a beautiful thing and I'm blessed.
Um, I'd like to read something while we're keeping on this thread. Then about it's about ancient law. It's some notes I just found that it's only 5 sentences, but they're quite big ones, and there's some key bits in here of words that you use that I've just pulled out. And the law of Moses in ancient Israel was different from other legal codes. All right, there's two key words there in ancient Near East, because transgressions, as another key word, were seen as offences.
Mhm.
Offences, against God rather than solely as offences against society. That would be, i.e., civil law, civil enforcement law. This contrasts with the Sumerian code of Nammu, and it's spelled UR-NAMMU, which is about 2000 to 2100 to 2050 BC, and the Babylonian code of Hammurabi, which is 1760 BCE, I've put, of which almost half concerns contract law. Okay, so that's a Babylonian code of Hammurabi, and it's 1760 BC, which almost half concerns contract law. However, the influence of the ancient Near Eastern legal tradition, of the law of ancient Israel is recognized and well documented as it happens. For example, the Israelite sabbatical year has, and I can't read what I've written here. I think it says antecedents in the Akkadian Meshuram edicts. Now, edicts are important. Akkadian, Akkadian, that's Akkadian, yeah. And then Meshuram is Mesharum. Edicts granting periodic relief. Get ready, everybody. This is for your austerity crew out there. It has edicts granting periodic relief to the poor. Another important distinction is that ancient Near Eastern legal codes, as in more recently unearthed Ugaritic text, which is Ujaritic, an important and ultimate role in the legal process was assigned to the king. Ancient Israel, before the monarchical period, beginning with David, was set up as a theocracy rather than a monarchy, although God is mostly commonly portrayed like a king. And that's where I got confused and I left it, and I haven't been back to that. And there's a lot of keywords in there that you've brought back in. And I thought, when I was doing my early research, I got into this 7-10 years ago, and it was too much. It was too deep. It was too full on, and I was too, I had to leave it, Andy. Now we've been around and done what we've done, and that thing, priest and whatnot, and subsequent seminars, conferences, chats, and videos. When you come out with all of this stuff, I've gone back to my old notes, and I just wanted to pull some of that out for the key words, because I've immersed myself in quite a lot before Bibles, just because that man there. That South African dude, what's he called, Michael Tellinger, he infected me with the and the others, not just him. So continue on if you've got something else. I'm sure you have. I'll yield, and I just wanted to get that ancient law bits in for there's a lot of years of keywords in there.
I can speak of ancient law till the cows come home, and you know it. So
we love you for it. Go on.
God spake, revealed himself by divers portions and in divers manners. The world only gradually acquired the knowledge of God which we now possess, and it is therefore a gross mistake to look for our ideas and standards of responsibility in the early ages of mankind. The world was educated, precept upon precept, line upon line, and it is not worthy that even when the gospel age arrived, our Lord did not in a moment reveal all truth, but accommodated his teaching to the capacity of the people, who the chosen disciples themselves did not grasp the fullness of the teaching that until the Pentecost. My phone's beeping again, sorry about that. The fact of the very slow growth of conceptions of God is made much clearer by our increased knowledge with respect to the composition of the Old Testament. Now that we have learnt, for example, that the Mosaic Code is to be dated as a whole centuries later than Moses, and that the patriarchal narratives were written down as we have them in the time of the kings and are coloured by the ideas of that time, we see that the idea that Israel had much the same conception of God in the age of the patriarchs as in that of the prophets is quite unattainable, and that the fuller conception was a matter of slow growth. The fact of the composite character of the Pentateuch, however, makes it very difficult for us to find out exactly what were the conceptions about God in the patriarchal and in the Mosaic times, and it is impossible to be dogmatic in speaking of them. We can deal only with the probabilities gathered from various indications in the literature, especially from the survival of old customs. What? What are you saying? Are we here or what? Where you gone, D?
I'm here. That's it. Sorry, I had a glitch. Am I back? Hello?
Yeah. Back in room, lad, back in room.
We're back in room. Easy now. I would just type into the chat room telling them I'm going to go on walkabout, and then I'll check back in a short while. So if you've got any questions or anything you want to put to me or Andy, we're not giving advice. We never do. We never will. But we give you our opinion and duly inform you onto what we can enlighten you with. Enlighten being the word there. So Andy, that was quite intense. My whole
Yeah,
time. I just
mate. L, the letters EL, common to Semitic tribes, a name of doubtful meaning, but usually interpreted as the strong one or as the ruler. It is probably not connected physiologically with Elohim, driver of Genesis, P1404. It is used often in poetry and in proper names, and prose rarely except as a part of a compound title like El Shaddai, or with an epithet or descriptive word attached as God of Bethel, El Bethel, a jealous God.
El God. All right, Bethel. All right, Bethlehem. El Bethel. All right.
El
Jealous God.
Shaddai.
Hello. Keep going. This is. I like this.
Yes, and it's got here El Elyon, El Shaddai. The meaning of El Shaddai is uncertain. The name has been derived from a root meaning to overthrow, and would then mean the destroyer, or from a root meaning to pour, and would then mean the rain giver, or it has been interpreted as my mountain or my Lord. Traditionally, it is rendered God Almighty, and there is perhaps a reference to this sense of the name in the words He that is mighty of Luke 149. According to the priestly writer, the name was characteristic of the patriarchal age. Shaddai alone is used often in the Old Testament as a poetical name of God and is rendered the Almighty. El Shaddai. It's Shaddai.
Now you're talking. The first occurrences of the name is in Genesis 17:1, and
Yes.
when Abraham was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appears to Abraham and he says to him, "I am what? What does he say? He says, I am El Shaddai. Walk before me, and thou perfect." Jacob, he says it as well there. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shaddai. This is what I mean with Jesus. You've got the Messiah, Christ, you've got Jesus, you've got the Savior. It's different names, different testaments, different positions, different pre-conjectures of man's position. You've already said there's a duality right at the beginning. This is Dan and his data self.
Hello.
Wow, debtor
Everything is
creditor.
duality. It's all yin and yang. It's all up and
Yeah,
down, in
sorry.
and out, black and white. Hello.
Yeah. So you've got there. You've just said L-S-H-A-D-D-A-I, and that would be the Judaic name for God, I would imagine. Then El Shaddai along there. What you're reading there, Andy. That's God Almighty, though. Bruce Almighty. This is the thing. Almighty. When I say the Most High, I say the Most High sometimes instead of Creator and whatnot, because you have a high priest. You have a high priestess, and yes. I would like to say that the name El Shaddai appears 48 times in the Bible. 7 times as El Shaddai, 5 times in Genesis, once in Exodus, and once in Ezekiel. Andy, over to you, brother. Smashing it. Smash the bar. Smash the bar, DJ. We're raising the bar now. Sorry. Go on, brother.
It's quite bizarre
We do it well.
when you just sit down and just have yourself 5 minutes and flick through the pages and of all what's out there and that, rather than going and getting inebriated or taking class A substances or whatever else, the truths are here. They're all written in front of us. They're all here to be comprehended and taken forward and used for what they are meant to be for, as a sledgehammer to whack some authoritarians in the face with. It's lovely.
To destroy the legal manslaughter that's coming upon us all very fast. Legal, removal of rights, if you can, via submittance. They take the rights via the ignorance and the submittance of, and then it's like, aha, now you're in our jurisdiction, but we're not really. We never are. It's just that they seem to take the upper hand with that. And these key words from the Bible, and ancient times and Sumer and the numbers in the books, and it's very 66 books in the Bible, though, don't forget, and we've got the 12 so forth, haven't we? And it's Dead Sea and other books that we've found. There's a lot of work here, so kudos for us condensing it, keeping it relevant and giving out the key conjecture for, AD says Bible, basic information before leaving Earth. Bible, bibliotech, Bible. I've said bisexual, bilingual, by whatever is two, and bull. And I have the fascination with the seas and the bulls. We all have a different interpretation. We all need to listen and bring it back in, and keeping it to the contract and the law and the authority. Would you say the jurisprudence and the ways that magistrates aren't going to recognise this, agents aren't going to recognise this, but man and their research, what it will do for you will help you lose the fear and walk the path, walk the walk, and learn to value yourself more and to take pride. And I don't know, I'm not saying get aggressive, but your rights, your property, and if your property is your rights, and your rights are abused, and that's your property abused, and if your property is abused, then you need to to know about that. And if you don't know that someone's abusing your property, then I'm very sad. That's why we're here, aren't we?
Absolutely, mate.
It's very broad, but yeah, over to you, brother. I'm sure you've got another chapter ready. Oh, yeah.
Person of Christ. Christology of the Synoptic Gospels. In so brief an article as so present, no attempt can be made to detail the stages in the self-revelation of Jesus, or to assign each partial disclosure to a fixed period. Nor is it possible to inquire critically how far the picture of Jesus in the Gospels has been coloured by later experiences of the Church. Accepting the substantial authenticity of the narrative and of the view of Jesus' person and teaching it embodies, we are led to examine chiefly the various significant titles in which his religious claim was expressed. But we must glance first of all at the human portrait drawn by the evangelists. Ain't that beautiful? With different titles. It's there in your face. Hello.
Evangelists, colours, titles. Can you put your phone on silent, please, Andy? So when you get your messages or whatever, your notifications, it'll just pop up and it won't go every time. Because when you're reading, it vibes you out. The vibe's killing you. Yeah, it's not an order. It's a request. Kindly.
No problem.
And then yeah, you're silent.
Yeah. It's all sorts. It's bloody emails. It's Gumtree messages and bloody free ads, and it's all sorts of stuff coming through on my phone that Sorry about that, pal.
Oh, it's all good. No, we don't want. We want to hear the quality. That's what it's about. So, somebody said what's I forgot to mention. I got distracted. So, I was going to say something, but it's gone. Relevant to I've lost the thought asking you to go on silent, so you got
Yeah,
something more. You
sorry,
can carry
bro.
on, brother.
Took it off, Fred. Everywhere in
No,
the
it's all good.
synoptics, everywhere in the synoptics of true humanity of our Lord is taken seriously. His bodily and mental life are both represented as having undergone a natural development. He is hungry and athirst, capable of keenest suffering, possessed of a soul and spirit which he yields up to God in death. Joy, sorrow, distress, peace, love, anger, every wholesome human emotion is felt by him. He prays to God the Father, looking up to heaven habitually in lowly trust, for strength and guidance to his appointed work. Out of the sinless impulse to use his powers to furthering and defending his own life, there rose temptations, not merely at the outset, but repeatedly later, which involved him in a real conflict. He is pictured as sharing in the common secular beliefs of his age and country. Certainly, he exhibits at times an extraordinary degree of penetration into the thoughts of men, but to speak of him as omniscient, whether in regard to the past or the future, is simply to desert our sources. He asks questions, elicits information, he feels and expresses surprise. He looks to find fruit upon the fig tree, and there is none. So far from being manifestations of omnipotence, his miracles are done through faith in power of God, the gift of which is sought in prayer and acknowledgment with thankfulness. Finally, it is impossible not to feel that the most theological attempts to vindicate for the Jesus of the Gospels a double consciousness or double will, the one human and limited, the other infinite and divine, not merely destroy the unity of the impressions he makes on us, but are really due to the tendency, devout but mistaken, to cast back upon those earthly years the glory of the risen Lord. This totally ignores the difference in Jesus' status, which the uniform teaching of the New Testament considers to have been made by the resurrection, while it also obscures the fact, indicative of the vast redeeming sacrifice of God, that the life of Jesus, the Son incarnate, was a life in the flesh and distinctly human phenomenon which moved within the normal lines of a human mind and will. Hello.
Oh, wait then. Hello then. Right, everybody. There's Gemstone and there's Omnipotence in America that are set up doing research and law. Don't worry, I've got a thread here. It's relevant. So, omnipotence and omnipotent. I think you said omnipotence, and that would be a noun. Omnipotence, plural noun. It would be omnipotence is the noun. The plural noun is omnipotences, and the quality of having unlimited or very great power. Well, you've just referenced God's omnipotence, and this word that I can't say. You can all laugh at me. I will get it one day when I'm about to die, but I think they're called synonyms, synonyms, not
Yeah.
synonyms,
Grantor of
synonyms.
Dominion, synonym.
Synonyms. I cannot say this. It's part of my dyslexia. All powerfulness, comma, almightiness, comma, supremacy, preeminence, Christ-like eminence coming from the Vicar of Christ in the papacies there, preeminence, supreme power, absolute or unlimited power. Those that have absolute power, that will be absolute corruption, undisputed sway. Yes, divine right. That's what the monarchy claim there, don't they? A divine right to dictatorship, um, de what's this one here? Despotism, totalitarianism, anti-establishment totalitarianism come out in spitting image when I was a little nipper, and I went, what the hell is that word? But just totalitarianism, autocracy, autarky, invincibility. I like this word here. Antonyms are powerlessness. So it's been a timeline. It's a long use of this word. Unlimited power. Monotheistic religions generally attribute omnipotence to only the deity of their faith. Okay, So it's not just there's more that have got there's omnipresence as well, unlimited power. I don't know what a monotheistic religion is. One, it's a one of, yeah. So mono is one. Theo, study of God. Theology is Theo. That's astro theology. Santos, Mr. Astro theology, study of God. Theology is a study of God. So a monotheistic religion would be a what? A mono God religion, one God religion. Generally attribute omnipotence to the only deity of their faith, not religion, faith. In the monotheistic philosophies of Abrahamic religions, omnipotence is often listed as one of a deity's characteristics, okay, amongst many, including omniscience, omnipresence, and omnibenevolence. Omnibenevolence, now that's the word of the week. The presence of all these properties in a single entity has given rise to considerable theological debate, prominently including the problem of theodicy, the question of why such a deity would permit the manifestation of evil. We've kind of answered that before, because there's love and hate, there's good and bad, and there's evil, you know, and love and hate, and God would need to experience all to experience it. If he's made us all in his image, and he's omnipresent throughout the atomic. Let me go. What have we done here? We've gone hermetic, haven't we? We've brought you the hermetic principles, the seven, amongst the other books and the scriptures. We've brought you everything, and so that's how you would have the omnipresence effect of the, wait for it, subquantum. I'm sorry, but it's all connected when you get down to the bare bones of it. So, Andy, I'm liking tonight, and I've got one more thing to add, which I remembered when I said I'd forgot when I asked you to go on mute, and that was when you're talking earlier, you mentioned persons, all right? You said Jesus was a person, and I've referenced in a video that I've read in amongst Genesis and Revelations and the scriptures, that the devil and being evil, if one is evil to somebody, you are normally getting revenge. If you're getting revenge, you know that person, and you're doing something to them because they've done something to you. You get revenge, and revenge is a personal attribute. So the devil is referenced in the Bible as offering Jesus the 9 realms. Jesus doesn't say, then Satan is not the devil, Satan, Lucifer. You can't offer them realms, they're not yours to offer. He doesn't say that, because they are his to offer. Satan rules this realm, from my research into the book. And when he says, no, I don't want the 9 realms, it goes later on into the personal side of Satan is being a person, not a spirit. You know, there's fire, there's Zeus, there's spirit, and there's light. So there's a light spirit, there's a mud spirit, us with mud, made from the mud with the spirit in, and then there's the spirits themselves that are made of light, fire, jinn, and so forth and so on. Ancient Indians getting the fire out, the spirits out the fire. So we have these perplexities in the realm where the Almighty God, in my eyes, and from what's being brought here, is the ruler of the heavens above this realm. On this realm, we have Satan. When Satan interacts as a person, as it is written in the Bible, that's why evil is personal. So when you get these cross correlations saying, oh, but if God's this and God's that, why would he allow? Because we're being tested. That's why the Papa there, Francis, has been changing. You didn't go silent. We keep hearing the vibe, but it's all right. We'll manage. That's why the Francis at the papacies there, the Papa Leiden Buller for the divided club of Rome, has changed the Lord's Prayer. With the temptation, we require temptation to test us, to see which path we will take. Without the temptation, there'd be no test. Without the test, there'd be no colour of man. There'd be no anything of man. There'd be no weed from the chaff, would there? So there's a lot going off here, and I'm trying to keep it simple and complex, but the devil is a person. Jesus is referenced as a person. Evilness is personal. It's not random. No one just attacks you. Well, unless you're in London, apparently you just get shanked and acid attacked just for the fun, or for delivering a pizza, as I mentioned this morning in my cursive outburst. So omnipotence was why I started this, and that's where I'll bring it back in. Very, very nice, Andy. Very nice indeed, brother. I'm loving it. I hope the
Okay,
scribes
well,
are.
I would like to go for the term, what you've just said there, Son of Man. And
Hmm.
we hear that term spaketh in the biblical text quite often. And I'm going to read now to you what it says in the dictionary about the term Son of Man. This title is used only by Jesus and applied to himself alone. The earliest mention of it is probable, as Dalma inclines to think that Jesus employed it for the first time, St. Peter's confession, yet at least that crisis does mark an incipient understanding of its significance on the disciples' part. But it was only at his trial, which is in Mark 14:62, its meaning dawned on the general mind. Its absence from the New Testament's writings, other than the Gospels, is intelligible if we consider that a phrase which to anyone but a Jew would require too much explanation for convenience. The virtual disappearance of the title, however, proves conclusively that it was no invention of the primitive Christian society. In the synoptics, the name is found on Jesus' lips about 40 times. Various writers have noted that the passages where it occurs naturally divide into two groups, as they refer A, to Jesus' work on earth and particularly his passions, or B, to the final glory of his parousia. It is observable that the ratio of apocalyptic passages is greater than the closing than in the earlier sections of the narrative.
That's a lot to ponder on there, Andy. There's a lot there. You're basically saying we've been tricked and deceived. Then deception afoot. To summarize, we've been deceived, and the Old Testament and New Testament, the correlation to the Son of Man, the relevance to it has been obfuscated in the translation of.
It's all down to perception, isn't it, mate? It's how you see it. Self-assertion of
It's
Jesus.
like,
What?
Go on. The Vicar of Christ I've come across sometimes in my last little bits that I've been. We've now, by the way, we've now got everything we need to go to the Chancery and get the Masters. I haven't said this live, public or anything, but today I'm going to read you something before we shut this cast down. And with the documents we've found, and this document here, the CEST KV, or CESTU KV, remember the separate here. I'd like to read you that, but I'll do that later. It's very, very relevant. The Vicar of Christ. Okay, so it says in the Bible that Jesus says that many will come after him and claim his name. Never mind the Son of Man. Okay,
Yeah,
no,
Dave,
to say I don't
yeah,
mean to offend anybody's religion.
we
Well,
lost
I'm
all
gonna.
that, Dave. You broke up through all that, mate.
All right, I get to a bit nearer the Wi-Fi. I don't want to offend anybody's religion. It's only going to be the Catholics that I offend here because it's about the popes and Francis and we've brought you the lineage of the Pope. So the Son of Man, Jesus, and the translations there. The Vicar of Christ has come up in my research and my writings, and what that stands for. Go and have a look, research yourselves. I'm not going to break that down. And in the Bible it says Jesus was he's written and said, many will come after me and claim to be like me, or me, the coming. And all of these popes that have been appointed, and we'll say the pontification. There we go. The jurisprudence of the Roman pontiff now, and the pontification is where it comes from. And they have, Father, God, Son of Man. It's all relevant. Just let me bounce, because if you claim to be the Father and you are the Father, our Father who art in heaven, you see where that word is mentioned. So this is where I'm getting to. They say the Vicar of Christ, and Christ says in the Bible, many will come and claim my name and claim to be me. And they have come after him. Many popes have been and put in. Yes, you see what I'm saying? So when Jesus tells you that Mandem's going to come and they're going to be going and calling themselves him, then them Mandem that are doing that happen to be in Italy, in the Vatican. And I'm like, oh my days, my family. I'm going. this man here, David's going to be put on the cross. If I ever go to Italy and see my family I'm not going to say the area because that would be silly. And yeah, see the Sicilian family. That's enough to say, hey, David, you're talking to me about the Papa Bona. You speak at the
Pontus,
tongue.
Dave.
I'm going to die. They're going to get me for this.
Let me give you the description out
It's
out the
true.
dictionary
It's
for
true. I
Pontus.
tell you. I think that man and all the subsequent popes that have come and that are there because of what they're saying and what's in that book would then be classified in my research and because of what Jesus has said in the Bible is the antichrists because that's what they've basically done. And I was like, oh wow, I can't wait to tell this Andy and the gang. Off you go.
Pontus, Pontus, pontification. You were saying the word Pontus.
Yeah, Pontus. Yeah, go on. Yeah, that's
Yes.
it.
In the earliest times of which we have any knowledge, this name, meaning sea, sea in Greek, was used by Greeks to indicate vaguely country bordering on or near the Black Sea.
Not gonna get so painful.
You could not make it up, could you?
And I found out, and hang on, the naught and the zero, astronaut, where you've got astronaut, you've got mental naught, psychonaut, all these other naughts here. Naught in
Yeah.
Greek means ship. What?
Wow. This says it's
That means sea.
vaguely
No,
country
Pontic.
bordered on or near the Black Sea. From its importance for the corn supply of Greece, the Black Sea and the land around it came to be known as the sea,
Oh,
par
wow.
excellence. As time went on and the term gradually became confirmed to the country to the south of the Black Sea, it was not till about BC 302 that a kingdom was here formed. In that year, consequent upon the troubles due to the early death of Alexander the Great, a
Oh,
certain Mithridates was able to carve out of himself a kingdom beyond the river Hales in any Asia Minor, and about BC 281 he assumed the title of king.
oh, and what we've just brought you here tells you who he thinks he was when he claimed king then. Oh, yes.
That's what it's all about. It is not possible to divine the exact extent of the territory ruled by this king and his descendants, but it is certain that it included part of the country previously called Cappadocia. Hello. Some of the mountain tribes near the
Cat.
Black Sea coasts
Yeah.
and part of the Paphlagonia, and also certain that its extent varied from time to time. The Mithratic dynasty lasted till BC 63. In the preceding year, the kingdom ceased to exist, and part of it was incorporated in the Roman Empire under the name Pontus. Oh, hello! You couldn't make it up, could you?
Dirty. They just absorb. They're like the Borg. They're like the Borg. These Romans. They just assimilate and take on. You will be assimilated. It's all die. It's like basically, and yeah, we'll take it and we'll turn it round and
Pontius
paganize it.
Pilate. Hello. What are you
Yeah,
saying?
Pontius. Yeah, and you've also you said 280 to 302 or something like that BC. Yeah, was that 280 to 302 BC or
No,
280 to 302
it,
AD?
it was
Because you've
not.
got
It was not
what?
till about BC 302 that a kingdom was here formed.
Because I've done works from the studies and works from 325, and it was the Roman general. I always get them confused with Confucius, Copernicus, no, and it's the other one. Yeah, there's another one. I forget. It will come back to me in a bit. But that Roman, that general did it to Justinian deception. There we go, Justinian, and yeah, so interesting times, and so that's a good 500 years prior as well. Mithra. Can you spell that? Who they are? Mithras and Mithrites or
Yeah,
something they say.
I've gone off the page now, mate. I'm looking for something else now that's important at this time, I'm afraid.
And it was Julius Caesar. He was the one that coined coins. And he got in a lot of trouble. He was a naughty Roman for that. Well, my mind's gone blank on that one there.
Yeah, some miles away. Oh, sorry.
So no, it's all good. Crack on. It's all relevant. That was banging. So yes, we have this fact, right, where they've taken, like I said, history and myths. At present, we get told history is accurate and true, and myths aren't to be believed. And the more we research it, the myths have got more accuracy than his story. That's because the winners of wars have the privilege of writing the history, and as we've seen, um, they know the establishment got to the, when I say the establishment, the academic side of it, they've got the truth, and then they've decided to keep it from us, yes, and bond us with it into the stocks and bonds as we've got here. So they do use this, and I believe at this moment there are things working with us to help bring this out. I'm not trying to claim anything to be a character from the Bible. My name's mentioned in there, King David. I do like the sound of that. It's got a lovely ring, but I've no intention doing out like that. But man's forgotten, and it's very important, how you consider yourselves. And some of this is not to be used in a court, and most of it isn't, documents and notices. But for you at home on a Saturday night, after the solstice and a good sunny day today, you should be charged. You should be feeling happy. Hopefully, you're not too, downhearted. And these journeys through time and history and kings and battles and monarchies, for those that are interested in it all, it is quite relevant to where we are today. And we've had all these battles previously. We've just remembered the great battle of the Somme, world wars, and the veterans and how little there is left of them. And we're going back to it, and it's a shame that we are submitting our rights in the country for which they fought and died for so violently and grotesquely in barbaric ways, and we just submitting now, and we can't, Andy and I and the family, not just as SPLs but as men, as our duty under the covenant. We've mentioned Abraham and Moses there as men's with contracts and covenants. Andy, you said something at the beginning that was quite good, that I'd like you to try and find about covenants, and I think it was Abraham, or no, Moses. It was in that Mosaic stuff, but they had a contract. The Ten Commandments. There was two tablets there, two tablets with five lots of stuff on each for particular uses. So, and he come down from Mount Sinai and he smashed them tablets. He broke the law. Moses, the first man to have a covenant. We call it the sacred contract because we're not so archaic and that way. We modernize it for you and try to get you a feel for it. But that's what it is about. And you are going to pass at some point, and you are going to meet the blackness. And if you want to try and ascend rather than be recycled, go to the dark side of the moon and be sent back on whatever the stuff that I've found, it's proper insane. So all we're trying to do is, when you go, you need to do two things. You need to have your heart balanced, allegedly by Anu or whoever, Anubis, and so forth, as the tradition and history and myths go. The myths are rubbish. So no, they're not. And you need to pay your way, which is why on the film From Hell, Johnny Depp used to put pennies on the eyes for the what's he called now, the funeral man that fills them with the goo, him to pay him so he could have his money, and the man's with the pennies on the eyes is to pay your way to go to the gateway to the other world. So there is an element of paying, there is an element of having your heart weighed. So the most won't get to that point. Hopefully I will, and Andy will, and our actions speak louder than words. And these simple instructions within this book, Jesus, lest ye not be deceived. Okay, that was an instruction, that was an order. We're not giving man a bill, but he told us not to be deceived. There's your lawful excuse, not Article 61, not Magna Carta, not lawful excuse or rebellion or anything like that. If you a man of faith, a woman of faith, then, and the Creator and Most High, all these names coming out now. Be careful which one you assign to him. He said, go forth and multiply. We can't multiply because we need a license now. We haven't got a chip, and we haven't got enough of the credit. And we're in austerity, and China can't multiply because they've been ordered, well, not ordered, but they've been told any more than one offspring in the family without authority, from the state. I've brought to you about the Romans and the churches and the church mixing with the state and what happened with the supposition of all of this, where we are. And this is how it's got. And these are the ones running it. So China's limitations on their rights, on the AI that's running their lives, on the lack of, it's truly saddening and sickening. And like I say, back to the point, man's died. And this landmass is not giving up. It's everything just like that, because its integrity, its rights, its equitable assets. When I say everything, I mean all of everything that we talk about, and you can reference your articulation to this sometimes, not by series on Netflix, not by Game of Thrones, not by anything you're going to see on TV, but by your own beliefs. And if we get on the same page, then we're halfway there, and there aren't many things to look at other than the Bible and the old texts and historical artifacts that are left for us, and most of them are what the establishment has chosen for us to have. Most of what we're bringing to you is just complex discovery and reference, and it's not easy, and we don't always get it right. But I think we are on the right lines this time, Andy. It's all dropping into place nicely. We have everything we need to go to Chancery and have a crack. Let me tell you, that much is, it's unfortunate that man has to afford £528 to appoint a Grand Master, but that's, it's a small hit. If you're that confident, then you know that that'll be coming back a millionfold, for the maintenance, cure, and relief. So, to understand where you are when you go down to try and take this battle on with the Romans and the masters. We're masters, we're all due a master's card, not the traditional master's card, but you need that confidence. And in this book, to be fair, I'll be honest with you, Andy, I had all the words, and you can see on the videos, all the babble, speaking too fast, no grounded, clean hands and conscious is one thing, but not having a spirit, an anchored spirit and a soul, and knowing that you're on a sacred contract, is meaningless. It's like having a lot of money, living in a mansion, but no family and friends. You've got all of the academic stuff, but you haven't got the stuff to take you outside and interface with the fam and use it and get it out there and use it to your advantage and to unbond ultimately. So this last little bit has helped me and this little grey matter inside under the dome find the righteousness and the actual belief to say, actually, we've all got lost, and we've got all this articulation and instruments and history, and that's great. But to be fair, if you don't know who you are, as I go back to, and what you're saying, know thyself, then you're nothing. You really are. So it really is a moment to behold for me, because I thought I had everything I needed and all the books and everything, and it turns out that you need to know this bit as well. You need to balance it to get that full heart, mind, mind, body, and soul balance. There's 3 points that need to be on the same resonance, or you'll be forever in conflict. So, yeah, thank you, brother. It's very important, and we've got to where we needed to get to.
So all we can do is endeavour to try and mate and walk the path that's laid before us. It's all mapped out. It's all there for the taking. You have to have the eyes to realise the real lies and see what's laid before us and accept what is, and have the full conviction and faith in yourself that this is achievable. And until you drop the fear and gain the faith, you're not going to get there.
Yeah, losing the fear of it, it's a big thing. But yeah, but when there's 30,000 thereabouts, there's 29,000 and something derivatives of the Christian faith, religion, Christianity in itself, then all churches, all official churches have to be licensed. There's another clue, and it's like, hang on a minute, licensing, registration. I still haven't emailed John Smith, everybody, and asked what's cracking on. I'm getting some feedback about common law and court appearances and bad things, good things, mixture of concern. So, we have to just bear all this in mind, and we have ourselves and we have what we know. There are many out there trying to purport, that they've got the right measure, and they believe they've got the right measure. They're not lying to you, but they are reading the Bible in a different interpretation. So that's how they see it. We see it in a different way. Perhaps there are 7 true meanings to the Bible story. So, there are many making mistakes. We make mistakes, errors, and omissions, and we correct them as soon as we can. We're only man, and we do other things, don't we, Andy? So it's just, they know the prayer is similar, if not equivalent to, on a scientific level, the power of intent, inwardly and projecting, outwardly manifesting, attracting. It's negative and positive. It's a duality. You've said there with Jesus, the person too, and it's all just the same information in different variants. And what they've done is diluted it and mixed it up. And others are out there to pay to confuse you and just take your money. So it's a nasty old setup, and you can tell the devil is truly in the details of all this legal realm. He doesn't come out. The greatest trick he's done: Satan, devil, Lucifer, Baal, 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 Beelzebub, Baalzebub. It's all there. It's all in this ancient, when he coming out with these. I didn't think I'd ever read Sumerian, Akkadian, and such Babylonian things like this, and testaments and Torahs, and I didn't never. I was shocked at myself to some extent on where we've ended up and who I was years ago. So yes, matey, it's very
Mate, can I just
interesting.
say that the devil doesn't come with a red cape and horns and a fork. The devil comes as everything you've ever dreamed of. And until you've had it face you, as I have, mate, you won't ever accept it. But allow me to tell you that that is the truth, And all this faith, all this God talk, devil talk, good, bad, all this stuff, it's all within us. The Christ consciousness and the annotation that comes with it is within. There's nothing out there. Everything out there is just the perception or the illusion that's been created. So for me, mate, it's all resides within. You don't need to go to the churches and the synagogues, and we don't need to be preaching and praying, and we don't need to be idolating and all these things. We need to know thyself, so deeply, and it takes a lot of work to own up to um, all your insecurities, all your devaluations of yourself, all these things. Like I'm facing up to these things as we speak. I'm only in the reflection of the Creator. I'm not God Himself. We're all just trying and endeavouring to do what's right and proper. And life gets a grip of the environment, work, debt, children, everything that comes with it, and makes everything extremely difficult. So it's all energy. Everything is energy. Where the mind goes, energy flows. So try and keep it as positive as possible and as productive as possible. That's all as I can say, really. I'm trying to do the very things myself.
Yeah, wise words. That is true. Energy and the man's energy is being usurped. Man's credit is being usurped. We have usury usurping us via our tacit agreement. Man's bonded debt slavery position is via the tacit acquiescence of everything that's going on. So yeah, the devil truly is in the details. Like where we had such loan companies coming up as instant payday loans, and they was giving government to, I believe, the Conservatives and Wonga scandal that came out before, remember? And they were just wanting your money and your energy. The campaign where Boris has just had to go to the courts to answer for what he said and how much money he raised and what they did in those, campaigns, and if it was true or not and relevant, honourable. The devil's again playing, and they're everywhere in every aspect. Yes, it's not like a red cape and a horn. It could be a lady, it could be a car salesman, it could be, somebody on the street offering you something. It could be one of your mates trying to coach you to do something you're not too comfortable with, and is bad. So you're thinking, well, but this is it, peer pressure, things like that. And there's other things, alcohol, the devil's slipper. What do we say? Those that drink. I'm not, having a go at you. I used to drink half pints of raki, so I'm no saint at all. And I haven't drunk for several years, but the devil, it comes for your energy. And bankers, Jesus kicking the bankers out and so forth. The credit, the cash, the charge, the currency, the sell. How we get assault and battery, the language, all after your energy and your ignorance. Our ignorance is our downfall, and it's really astounding where we've got to. And I don't know if they ever expected this much to come out, and how we use it is down to us. But violence and burning and threatening and that may get you somewhere if you're into your wars and battles, but you always have casualties. You always have prices to pay. When you take people's rights off them and you kill them ultimately, murder. So we don't wish that, we wouldn't talk about that, we're not here for that. But what I'm saying is ultimately through history, what Anglo folk men flock should I say, they have been flocked, do is go out and they use force and they protest or petitions and strike. We've had disputes of late, and we've seen those how those went with the it was miners' strike, Arthur Scargill. It's 20 years since Kosovo, who are Eastern European and international family, shout going out to the British Institute of International Affairs. That would be the UK Masonic Lodge, while I'm going international there, because those are the mans that are running big things over here under the monarchy's wing, under the Papa's wing. So we have these international 20 years since Kosovo. The United Nations and so forth, and the Albanians, and what happened over there with Milosevic, Slobodan Milosevic. And do you know what? I went over to the pyramids, didn't I? There's Bosnian, and I drove, shit my pants when I saw bullet holes still in the houses, and these gangs of men and families and farmers, and they're good, the well-to-do people. It was nothing to do with them. It was just I thought, whoa, hang on a minute. This was 1999-ish when this shit went down, and they haven't renovated. They haven't, there's houses still where the families were murdering each other because of the religions and the faiths and the political. It was horrific for me as a child, as a little boy, to cognize all of that and what was going off and the intervention. And it was my entry into with Terry Waite and Mandela. We won't go into the effect, but I remember that ANC and everything going off there, Tiananmen Square. I was very confused and scared little boy. I thought, what the hell am I growing up in? I hope they sort this shit out before I get out there. It's got worse. 20 years on since Kosovo. Back to the point, David. There's so much warfare to cover when we get on these points, though. God's watching all this time. That country's still a wreck. It's a shithole. There's a little village in Kosovo where, because at the winter time, they've got no investment. Nobody gives a shit about them. No European intervention as such. No recognition. No independence. They've just been left to rot, in essence. Okay, and no, all these good do-gooders and legal laws and Hagues and everything mean shit if you don't know who you are and what your voice is. So this little village, ladies here, they started growing vegetables, carrots, peppers, and so forth. And what they do is they pickle for the winter, because otherwise they'll probably starve. And they've got that good at it. They now sell these products internationally throughout Europe. And it started off as a means to live, because there's bombs and bullet holes and non-investment and corrupt politicians all over the Balkans. They can't become an independent Balkans. I won't get into all this now. I love my international stuff, and I'm very sickened, and I'm sorry, Kosovo, Bosnia, Serbia, Croatia, the old Yugoslav, Syria, all conflict countries that will happen to have a central bank wanting to be installed there, central demonic controlling system, regulatory, and here we go, the charges and the energy control. This is a country on its own that could flourish quite well. It has a lot of reserves, but it's not being allowed to because of, somebody will come in with an army and tell them no. So it's just suck hard, Johnson, or be left to rot. Take Christianity or die by the sword. But if you know your law under God, then you can go out there as a unit, non-military unit, as a self-governing, peaceful tripart under the Creator, and get your rights and stuff heard. It won't be easy, but it'd be better than being pushed from pillar to post or chopped up and shot. Do you know what I mean? That's no way to live. It's almost like with dogs trapped in a pen. They give you a car. Your car is to emulate freedom. Doesn't mean you're free. Oh, I can choose to go to London, to Scotland. That must mean I'm free. Yeah, all right. That's why we have these automobiles and transportations, to emulate that freedom aspect. You can get on the M1 and burn it up and down the country. That's not freedom. Truly, we recognize true freedom, and I'm going to yield, but I'm really passionate about certain things in conflict and war, and our duties, and watching countries die, Syria, Iran, all of that. What I did this morning with that video, Trump nearly launching an airstrike on Iran, allegedly, and he got talked out of it by an old flame, not his chief of staff, not his, anybody in the Securities Council, but some old flame. Well, it's just a joke. It really is. And what's going off, it makes me cry sometimes. And when you've seen shit, you just think, well, is there any hope? What have we got resource-wise? We have nothing, and we're at the mercy of armies and the United Nations. Oh, if God's give us all this power, and the Trump's there as the most powerful man on the planet, he's not. We're created equal. We have that power, and one man to stop that tank in Tiananmen Square shows you how powerful we are. You know. Oh, Andy, over to you, man.
One man does have the power to make change. If he can just make change in his community or in his area, you know, that little community stick together and make change in other communities. That's how it goes on. And to stand together. But initially, it always starts with one. One always starts a petition. One always stands up and says no. One always stands and puts the hand up and says, wait a minute. You know, and it just seems collectively that through that which we speaketh and that how we feel about this realm is, you know, we're attracting through our inward manifestations, through the laws of attraction, those that are like-minded to us, those that have the same heart vibration, the same resonance, the same feeling, wanting, seeking the same outcome, peace and love for all, you know. It is attainable, it is achievable, but it has to be done in the correct capacity and in the right manner, not out there frivolously vexating, shouting and bashing pans and yellow vests and all this kind of thing, protesting for testing, or as it's known. You know, you have to do it in the private and cut them off at the knees, take the fiscals from them, stop paying them in that way, and to discharge and dispel things with the pen. And they'll have to stop printing the perpetual currency which holding us, slaving us there with no intrinsic value. So if we can all learn to enact correctly upon the seas of commerce and stop being the currency on their current sea, it will stop what's going on. But it's a whole lot of cognition, it's a whole lot of work to do so, but we can only endeavour to keep doing what we're doing.
Indeed, yeah. We won't change the system, but if we change the way we interface with it and interact, and if we start to reserve the right and sign without full liability sometimes, and choose whether or not we are going to benefit from this agreement and signature and so forth, then yeah, that's a big way. It's a big start. Yeah, it's a it would then complicate the system, and it's, you know, the system, the bondage, the funds, the access to and from. They treat you like scum. They don't, you know, say please or thank you half the time. When I say they, like going to a job centre, they treat me like scum. I can say that, and I felt like crap, and I would never. I'd said on the video this morning, I know a lot of fam now that don't go there, and they live privately. They're self-governing, independent, you know, free of constraints, and I admire that. And sometimes we have to go there. We go there, you know, it's all right. If we could all get access to this pot, you know, of these funds and chuck it all in one and let the AI just divvy it up, you know, we need to be, like I said, it doesn't matter which buffoon gets in as the next MP, it's still the same parliament. What we need to do is we need to control the resources and the credit. We can do that with an app. We've got a thumbprint, yeah, left to pay out, right to receive. We've all got the unique keys there and seals for payment and transfer via endorsement of a digital app. It can be done. You know, this is why I'm looking at the crypto and the currencies and certain things there. So yeah, it's a system. It's going to be here for a while. It's been here for thousands of years as we're bringing it to you. We haven't got the power to overturn it in any way. It's a global, realm
We
wide
have the power internally, mate. The system only has power because man acquiesces to it. We give our power through cognitive dissonance, through tripping over their leading questions, their legal questions, and we don't know what they're saying. So the system is a dead entity with no power, with no voice, with no action. It only comes to life when we give it the life, when we blow power through its veins. And man needs to learn to stop doing that, keep his power within. Don't acquiesce and don't give anything away through cognitive dissonance, especially the sign of nature. Don't do anything. If it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. And it's these simplest techniques that we must adhere to.
Yeah, it's easy for you to say, but for others, it's you know, it's confusion. It's you know, a lot's been said. They're not sure about national insurance numbers, whom they are, which name to use, any capital letters, the title. So there is a lot of good ones out there that will help, and we've done a lot of videos, we've done a lot of publications. There are others out there doing that. So it's very hard. I admit, for us to try to, I don't know, yeah, remain bulletproof. You will get tricked. You've said it there, leading questions. Example would be, I'll help out here. You're in your automobile, or you may be in commercially in a car, a van, whatever, but they will not, the officers, the civil enforcement officer there will knock and say, is this your vehicle? That's a
Are you
leading
the owner of
question.
this vehicle?
Are you the driver? They can see you sat behind the wheel, but they're still going to lead you into the question and say, are you the driver? But that should be apparent, shouldn't it, brother, fam? If you sat behind the wheel of a vehicle or a horse, yeah, and they're asking you if you're the driver, then that tells you everything. Then there's an option there not to be the driver, because they wouldn't be asking you if there was any doubt in their mind. How can they doubt in their mind if you're driving or not when they've just pulled you up and you're sat behind the wheel? So think about it. They lead you into that question because they know you can get out of it. That's why you have leading questions. It's a bit of a Jedi mind tricks we have. They have the leading questions of the the Doom game, satanic. Come this way and pay us. It's a benefit to the system for you to put your hand in your pocket and pay. It's a benefit to the system to collect that metal and weigh it in. Benefit to the system to put you in a square hole in a cell and charge you, and put you in there and give you a sentence and get you convicted, because they're private prisons and they run on business. So then they'll start charging the certificates and the bonds. It's incredible. It really is. And for all the forefathers that have died and passed up good life, children and men, women and everything, to fight for these lands and stop us, whatever. And here we are, all of us on every continent being invaded simultaneously. What's the word? Cloaked. They're cloaked. It's not a fair fight. You don't see, like in court, in law, we say you have the right to face your audience and the right to face your accuser. Now, if you accuse somebody lawfully, legally, and you don't turn up to court, you go into what's called a default, and that means that the one that has turned up, that does the affiant claimant, things like this, defence, you will pay. You put a claim in, and then you don't turn up to articulate that claim and endorse it and provide the proof and the burden and follow the process. Then I'm left there to defend Gary Davis. I take Gary Davis to court, and here we go to make it relevant. And I've served Gary Davis without using the Met Office, and and I've got him served, and I present to the court under the CPR that man's been served lawfully, been recorded. I can tell the judge, and judge can see, yes, you've served Gary Davis. Well done, David. Where is he? I don't know. My honour. Where is Gary? We got some shit to sort out. He's saying I'm on drugs. He's slandering me on Facebook. Defamation of character. Yeah, and it's not turned up. I'm really angry. I could have levered him, but I've chose not to. I lifted the upper hand, and I've brought him to the high courts to face, the battle here. As a man, he owns UK Laws and Secrets on Facebook. He clearly must know the law. I don't. He knows he's gone into default. He's obviously a clever man, or he must be one of your trills, my honour. Trill? What would that be? Preposterous. What's that? There's no such word. No, there isn't. It's a bit like spanktioned. We keep making new words up in Babylon here. And a trill is a troll and a shill. We believe he works for the bar. We believe he's a government agent, Gary, of the Davis clan, making absurd claims that are unfounded, insubstantiated, libelous, slanderous, defamation of character. For what? I don't understand it. There you go. So I went on a tangent there, but you get what I'm saying.
Certainly do, pal. There's a question here off JJ. It says train driver or train pusher of lever. It's it's good one. But a shepherd is a driver. They drive their sheep from one field to the next. So anything where you are in a capacity where you are for hire or reward, like a train driver or a push bike driver on delivering envelopes, or anything else driver, a sheep driver, you're in that commercial capacity, you're getting paid. So you are a driver, unless you are acting privately, travelling, unless you got your own train lines or what. It'd be very nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't Pete Waterman got his own lines, ain't he?
Oh,
Hello.
hello. Yeah, has he? I don't know. I had rumours. Rumours fly like flies.
There you go. So it's getting late then, brother, and I'm going to think about calling myself an evening if that's okay. I've done some reading from my scriptures this evening and things, and I'm going to toddle off and do a couple of other bits and pieces now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's all right. Yes, brother. I'm just
Late on the
checking a
night.
message.
I've done much energetic things today. It's been quite hot today, and I've been mowing and trimming and doing things, so I'm all out of energy, brother.
It's been beautiful. Yeah, I've been in the garden doing admin, answering emails, and I've enjoyed it. It's been quiet. I've been on my own, and I feel quite tired actually, but I'll stick around. I've got a bit of a paragraph to read on the computer. But yeah, thank you very much. It's been excellent, Andy. It's been really fun. Thank you for that.
It's all good, mate. Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me on. Thanks for everybody in the chat room to listening and interacting and showing the love and respect and in the levels that they do. It's a beautiful, humbling experience, and thank each and every one of you. Thank you. Peace and love.
See you later. 10:10. Good buddy.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.
Put this light on. See you later, bro. Much love. Thank you. Right. Now, while I'm waiting for Matthew in Sheffield to answer me for the second guest, potentially have a chat on. He's not been on for a while. He's gonna hit you like a machine gun. Be forewarned. We're gonna read my happy Saturday to the scribes, tribers, and fam that I posted at 2 p.m.ish today on the .com. It's an act for the more effectual discovery of the death of persons pretended to be alive to prejudice of those who claim estates after their deaths. Reasons for passing this act, reversions and expectant upon determination of life estates, upon affidavit of belief of death of infant or other tenant for life, as herein mentioned, and that such death is concealed by guardian, may yearly move for and obtain an order in chancery for the production of such tenant for life, and upon refusal to produce such tenant for life, taken to be dead, whereas diverse persons as guardians and trustees for infants and husbands, in right of their wives and other persons having estates or interests determinable upon a life or lives, have continued to receive the rents and profits of such lands after the determination of their said particular estates or interests. And whereas the proof of the death of the persons on whose lives such particular estates or interests depend is very difficult, and several persons have been and may be therefore defrauded for remedy whereof and for preventing such fraudulent practices, any person or persons who have or shall have any claim or demand in or to any remainder, reversion, or expectancy in or to any estate after death, CQV, of any person within age, married woman, or any other person whatsoever, upon affidavit made in the High Court of Chancery by the person so claiming such estate of his or her title, and that he or she hath cause to believe that such minor married woman or other person is dead, and that his or her death is concealed by such guardian, trustee, husband, or any other person, shall and may once a year, if the person aggrieved shall think fit, move the Lord Chancellor, Keeper, or Commissioners for the custody of the Great Seal of Britain for the time being to order, and they are hereby authorized and required to order, and they are hereby authorized and required to order. Write that down. Such guardian, trustee, husband, or other person concealing or suspected to conceal such person at such time and place as the said court shall direct on personal or other due service of such order to produce and shew to such person and persons that show SHEW, to such persons and persons not exceeding two, as shall in such order be named by the party or parties prosecuting such order, such minor married woman or other persons aforesaid. Oh, this is brilliant. I saved the best till last. Look. And if such guardian, trustee, husband, or other such person as aforesaid shall refuse, neglect to produce or show such infant, married woman, or such other person on whose life any such estate doth, pretending according to the directions of the said order, than, than, then the Court of Chancery is hereby authorized and required to order such guardian, trustee, husband, or other person to produce such minor married woman or other person concealed in the Court of Chancery or otherwise before commissioners to be appointed by the said court at such time and place as the court shall direct, two of which commissioners shall be nominated by the party or parties prosecuting such order at his or their costs, £528 for the chancery farm I told you at the beginning, and charges. And in case such guardian, trustee, husband, or other person shall refuse to or neglect to produce such infant, married woman, or other person so concealed in the Court of Chancery, or before such commissioners whereof return shall be made by such commissioners, and that return or return filed in the petty bag office. Petty bag office, I can't even get my petty bag office, PBO for as it goes. In either or any of the said cases, the said minor married woman or such other person so concealed shall be taken to be dead, and it shall be lawful for any person claiming any right, title, or interest in remainder or reversion otherwise after the death of such infant, death of the infant, married woman, or such other person so concealed. Told you about the land registry, DSAR in them to get that death certificate, and then as a force, an affidavit and the chancery. I thought we've got it all. We have the job lot. Mission complete. London is in sight. The dark days are over. Dark days. Oh, come on, let's get a bit of yes. A woman or such other person so concealed as aforesaid to enter upon such lands, tenements, and herediments, and if such infant, married woman, or other person so concealed were actually dead. There is so much more. I'm not giving you much more, but it's got the Acts chapter and the common printed editions of a certain act here. Okay, it's on the .com in full glory for you, and the source. You've got interlined in the roll, modifications in there, the short titles of the says through something. There, look, the jurisdiction of the High Court. I'm too good to you. Look. The jurisdiction of the High Court of Chancery now exercisable by High Court of Justice, Supreme Court of Justice, Consolidation Act 1925. You've got the enactment repealed by Statute Law Revision Act 1888 and remainder omitted under authority of Statute Law Revision Act 1948, Constitutional Reform Act, infant tenant, if such infant tenant for life appear to be in some place beyond sea, party prosecuting such order may send over to view such infant, and if guardian will not produce such tenant for life, then he or she will be taken as dead, and it shall appear to be this place beyond the seas. Oh, come with me to the Golden Sea where the weather's fine and Bill, Portland Bill. Let me just, so I'm going to see if Matthew's free. We've got to talk about this tenant for life and guardians, trustees, consent, man, deemed, trespassers, claim of life, herediments, executors, administrators, land, tenements, herediments, these estates, persons. Very, very, very interesting. Watch this space. Updates on the .com. I'll check the comments and then we're going to ring Matthew. I can't come on the video, my phone's crashed, so I can keep the audio, but I tried to come on, show my face. 32, what? Thank you, good morning. It is 12:20 on June the 23rd now, Sunday. Thank you all. Wasn't that excellent with Andy? That was even better than last Saturday. Get rid of that. Let me free this up. What's Sheffield saying? If you haven't heard Matthew from Sheffield, you might just be a bit up to meet him. Ecky Thump, we'll call him now. If he's up, he'll answer. Then I'll go to comments. We're in. Let's see.
Can't take a call. I'm probably talking to somebody about a resource-based economy, so I don't have to be a slave for the rest of my life, and neither will my children or your children. I suggest you do the same. Thank you, bye.
After you finish your message, just hang up. Or to hear more options, please press 1.
What an answer machine, Matt. I've just played your voicemail message to the scribes on my tube channel. I was ringing you to see if you wanted to have a chirp like Paul knows how it is. Sheffield, and you're not here, so here's the message to prove that I rang. And I actually played your message to the realm. Such an excellent message. In a bit, bruv. Much love. Ciao, bello. Oh, we'll try him again. I'll try him one more time. The postman always rings twice, doesn't he? The brothers always ring twice. Except if they owe you money, they'll only ring once and then they'll turn the phone off. You can go in the skyrocket. This can go here, that can go there. Right then, last chance, Matt.
Hi, sorry, I can't take the call.
You can't take the call. He's probably talking to somebody about a resource-based economy. That directs me beautifully to your comments. And we are wrapping up. Thank you, scribes. We love you. It's been great, incredible, exhilarating. Gooey, Fly, Jerry. Lux has gone to the nesting zone. I'm in full tard mode 100% of the time. I'm smiling, but that's not funny. But we'll change that, Fly, don't you worry. Irish Gale, usual man, I fit right in. Yes, I Irish, yes you do. Takes one to know one. Easy. Yes, what's going on here? Bill American, possibly not. Big J, do you Jesse? Who's Jesse? J. Oh, I see the confusion. What's going on? Big J. There you go. Hind legs off a donkey and all that. All like that. Are we all good then? What's happening, scribes? We all fell out. All good? Any questions before we wrap up? Hello, Gooey. Yes, Jonesy, Fly, John, Jesus. There's more watching than there is commenting I see there then. So let me know if you've got out to say. If you've enjoyed it, please give me a thumb up. And Andy, got lots to going off all over the place tomorrow. I'm going to concentrate on Facebook updates, messages. I'll spend a few hours on there. I've answered all the emails. We're up to date on many things. We have everything we require to get on bonded instruments, assets, language, direction, courts, paperwork, positions, status, standing, capacity, documentation, .gov.uk, acts, statutes, indentures, everything. So yeah, wish us luck. 528 quid to make your appointment and go down and essentially say it appears under the CEST KV 1666 something else, and there's 3 of them, all right. And then you got the CEST KV and the CEST K, and we've told you one's property, one's land, all right. You need to keep them separate. You go down to the chancery with your articulation and your appointment, and you need to say this, all right. From what I've found out, yes, and all of this work and all of this discovery, the bottom line is you're assumed dead and lost at sea. You are at the age of 7 given a certificate of death, I would imagine, registered at the land registry. At the age of 14, it's a second chance of redemption and saying, hello, I'm not salvaged, I'm dead, and you're required to be, you know, administered as such as a trustee and blah, blah, blah. You know, my estate and I quite well, and I'd like to continue managing it and using it and benefiting from it. Don't thank you. You're not going to say that at 14 because you don't know anything. And 21 comes, that's your third chance. All right, the third time is a charm. 3 is the magic number, and the key, the card, it goes in the bin. So such crime. I could cry for us all a million tears of saltiness, you know. So essentially, fundamental facts are, as I've just read you there from a certain paragraph of one of those acts, bonding and governing and so forth. You're not to be assumed to be dead and lost at sea, in which case you've then been salvaged and put in the positions of, and basically, in essence, that's it. So you've got to get that master robe, you know. My honour to accept that, you know, to get there and do it articulately, concisely, and not blow you 5 to 8. True master's card. So essentially, I make that sound easy. That's probably the product of what, 353 years of bondage since 1666, and thousands of years of articulation and continuum from the bloodlines and the lineages of their kings and monarchy. When I say kings, not god kings or any other kings, it's just, you know, the monarcherial kings and their divine rights and how they've superseded man and taken on the supposition between the lead and buller and the churches. I've brought to you the Pope that said in what year that all churches are under the Catholic Church now, hence licenses to be required, lack of protesting, very serious. So thank you all. Incredible, epic times, end of the road. As she says, the dark days are indeed over, for us at least. And if not, then we don't worry, we'll bounce back. We have other ways, we'll make corrections. Thank you all. Good night. And yes, Gooey, indeed. Yes, get in. Get mad, get mad. You think you're bad, but you're not. You what? You what? MC Bones on the mic. That's what we're going to do at the party. It's all going off. It will be on me. It will be at the residence of. It was only the other day that on the comment that Gary Davis made with his slander and defamation that somebody called commonly Christian. I've taken him on face value. I accept what he says. I don't necessarily believe it, everybody. If you've seen my profile video where commonly Christian came on, he was commenting to Gary saying, yeah, I heard man say that he was going to London and he was going to get his gold and land. Where is it? And I'm like, yo, you only get one chance at this. It's very confusing, pal. And many men have tried and failed, disappeared, hung themselves, and etc. So, you know, it's not something to be rushing in here. And it was, I said, you know, taking our time. It was only today I read an email from a brother. Brother, I love you. And I can't say your name because it's all private and secret, squirrely, and it's whatever. But there's a brother that's emailed me something other than me bringing you the gemstone 21 videos and the documentation there with the indentured trusts and the trusts and, you know, subsequent works that we, you know, we can cross examine, if you like. Somebody's emailed me something today of which I read 3 years ago, and I thought it can't be that simple. We've got to continue to look. The government never tell you the truth, especially when they print it and put it online. But when it's on their own housing.gov.uk and it's the United Kingdom Statutory Act, which is there under common law, as we've explained the common law to you, it's a statutory act governable by mandate from Westminster by default upon your person under the assumption and presumption of the incorrect trust position and status, standing and capacity that you've been bonded into. So brother, secret brother that emailed me today, that's why I read all my emails, that's why I reply, because what we get back is incredible, and it's more valuable than gold itself. So yeah, we'll keep on it, Tit. And thank you, Andy. Thank you, Scribes. We are shutting down. It's time for the dark time to sleep. And I've got to eat and rest and unwind. State. Is this your first show, 007? Get me on the talk show and I'll share some foundation stuff, what you all need before you do anything else. Oh, gooey, email me, we'll chat. I have big balls as well, Mr. Fly. Barry Big Balls. Come on then, gooey. We like that. Barry Big Balls. Have you seen my voice, Barry? The hydraulic compression voice. Trust is needed and earned first. Yes, watch all the 360 videos. And yeah, don't speak in capitals. We can't understand that. I know I've read it out, but you know, play on shit there. Thank you all. Andy Greggs, didn't see you. Where have you been? You sneaky, sneaky little Russian. Look at you. Don't tell me Russians aren't sneaky before you criticize me for that comment. I will not undo it. I know a lot of Russians and they're all very crafty. It's very clever, very intellectual, very strong. Kick 7 shades of John Jonesy. Yeah, so we're all one fam. We all get on. We're all in each other's image. Super Leeds, Button Moon, was Ace. Stop it. See you soon. Be back soon, Button Moon. Where's that come from? Random. If I'm the random one, I do the randoms. Love and light. Yes, I. Thank you all. Good night. It's been excellent. 29 at 12:30 on a Saturday after a hot sunny day. Man is charged. Man is buzzing. Thank you. All right. Love you and light to yours. Anything you need, you email David at splspro.com. Please go back on the channel, look at the videos, share. And 21 videos are on channel SPLS space PRO on YouTube. You need to find the secondary channel that I've created that's dedicated to the .com and frequent yourselves with the 21 videos and the 3 Sovereign Foundation Masters Educational Guild we've got there for you for the free foundation. We're going into the next educational tierage exclusively for the .com members. Some will be brought to YouTube via chat, but you'll have to communicate via email and .com now. That's why we've led you up to this point to coincide with everything. So we have the armor of God adorned, the language, the instruments, the you know, everything. I'm summarizing, I'm shutting down. Very happy, excited times ahead, just in time to save us from October and the Brexit that may or may not be happening, and the implications financially, structurally, constitutionally, lawfully, morally, ethically, spiritually, and you know, going forward as a whole with our families and lineages. I don't have much confidence in what these United Nations and executives, European MPs, lords and ministers are doing. As you've watched over here, we're the masters at it, you know, and this is why we're doing what we're doing. We have a right to look elsewhere and be independent. Please see this morning's video if you want some jokes. I am quite harsh on that, and we will be back soon in your screens. All right, now we're going to kick back, relax, give peace and love. And, I'm going to scribe to you the new scribes channels. Albert, thank you. Good morning, yes, I. Good day, good rising. No mornings. No one's morning here, John. We love you. Stay strong, stay self-governing, stay private, stay honourable, keep your hands clean, help others, and I'll check the emails, and much love, good vibes. You can come on, Zgui, that's not a problem. We have to check and vet. I have a channel with 3,000 summit scribes and 360 videos. If I let any random on and you come and do a porn blast, as is not uncommon, they've tried to do it to me before, and you know, we have to vet you. So you're right, trust is earned there, my man. I think you're a man. I think we've emailed, haven't we? Yes, I think I know who you are. So yeah, we'll do that. We will do that if you can just be patient, and we'll line you up. All right. Thank you for offering. It does take a bit of courage there. So much love. Peace out. I can't come on camera because the phone's crashed. I'll try. I'll see if I can just get it back, and then we're going. No. it's hiding the video that I'm on. The problem that I've got is the Hangouts app's crashed. I've reloaded it. It's kept the audio, but then it doesn't show me the actual chat that I'm on now to release the video. Accept, 1 second. Could be this. You're already in a call. Yeah, I tried to go into it and it tells me I'm on that call. Chimp. Absolute. There's no screen with a video, so much love, scribes. You'll see me soon. Peace out. It's 3:33 p.m. Oh, we like them numbers. Good time to exit. I'm going. We love you. And there we go. Here we go. No, I can't do it. Right. Thank you. See you soon. Button Moon. Be back soon. Let's do this. I'm gonna have to kick myself out because I can't hang up. So we're all gonna go at once. 3, 2, 1. Peace, love, and light. Ciao, bello.